Someone says, "What's the future?" Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents. I am, of course, your host, Vaughn Coleman. And before we get into today's guest, a very special guest, I would like to talk about my comic book, Phenomenova, which I'm going to be closing out next week, evidently. I was just talking to a printer, and apparently it's in my best interest to give them... I didn't realize this, the numbers further ahead of time than I planned. Initially, I was going to have it all proofed and then find out the numbers. Apparently, it's better just to give them more time. So because I want a faster turnaround time for you guys, I think I'm going to close it out next week. So that means that this is your chance to get it. And if it's your first time hearing about it, Phenomenova is my superhero comic set 20 years after World War III that follows the idealistic son of a war hero, Miles Hanksley, who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal and finds himself awakening with lightning powers and super speed. If you want a story that really harkens back to the heroic idealism of the old days, if you like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, especially the first one, if you like Claremont's X-Men, New Teen Titans, you know, all that kind of good stuff, then this book is for you. It's 65 pages of story, 68 pages total, and you got a lot of goodies if you back it early. All these variant covers are limited, so if you want these, make sure you get them. Because once the campaign closes, I'm having a limited supply, and that's it. And we are close to hitting our next goal. So whether you're back on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or Fund My Comic, all the money goes to the same goal and all the backers are rewarded with the stretch goals. At 20K, we get a new trading card and we are at past 16K. So the feeling when lightning strikes your crystal? Yeah, no, it's relatable to my main character. Caleb Reynolds, how you doing? Let's bring in my guest. You've heard enough about me. Without further ado, Dannphan, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing
Glad
much.
to see your campaign is still doing well.
Yeah, that would have been... It's just like everyone just decides, I don't want it anymore. You know what's crazy? I'm not sure if you've dealt with this. You're on Kickstarter. But I found that of all of the platforms that they are the flakiest.
Flakiest in what terms?
In the sense that they will, because Kickstarter doesn't charge people until the end, so a lot of people will pledge and then go and then pledge. So there was like a solid week where I was like over 1,000, under 1,000, over 1,000, under, and I was like, oh my god.
I have heard that. This is like my first time really doing a Kickstarter, so I'm like kind of new on the platform. I loved Indiegogo and how they had everything set up, but you know, the last comic campaign I did, they for no reason, so I couldn't go back there. Being on Kickstarter for the first time, I'm not entirely impressed, but I guess people like it.
Mm-hmm. I hear it's basically you have to, it's like a totally different audience. Like a lot of the people, it's almost like how people will just look at YouTube and they're like, that's the only video platform I need. Like, I've been told so many times to go to Rumble. I know there's less censorship and whatever, but I still use YouTube. I think Kickstarter is the same way with most people. Most people, they're just used to Kickstarter. They don't want to do anything else. But Kickstarter also, there is an algorithm that kind of helps. And they don't, to my knowledge, shadow ban. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of getting on shows and talking to people. But before we get started, so obviously you have a YouTube channel. I can't for the life of me remember what my first video I found you through was. But I do remember, so for context, how we met. So we met at Garden State Comic Fest. And I was walking by your table. I'm like, she looks kind of familiar. Anyway, I gotta go, because I was talking to someone else. And then later I got back to my table. One of my artists goes, oh, there's Dannphan's in the other room. I was like, I knew it. So that was, that's how we started talking. But what got you into making videos?
Jeez. I mean, I've been making videos for a long time, and like what type of video has like really changed over the years. It's still like kind of changing, but I'm trying to keep it like consistent with mostly talking comics because it's the thing that I'm most interested in, being in the actual industry myself. But yeah, what actually got me into I think the first YouTube channel I ever did, which I think was under the same name actually, but it was just like AMVs. It's just like the classic early 2000s cringe YouTube.
You're one of those?
Yeah. And then at some point, my main content that I think got me kicked off was actually chapter reviews for One Piece, or chapter reactions, because I was reading different manga at the time, and live reactions were a big thing. So I would do like reactions and reviews to manga. That was, yeah.
You should do a reaction video of you just reading it and going, but like there's no, they don't see what you're, that would be interesting. Comic book reaction channels.
Well, it's funny because they were striking the videos, so a lot of people had to start hiding the pages and just saying what was happening on the page. It was very goofy.
So you did that. That's when you started blowing up, and then you went from reviewing good comics to bad ones.
Oh yeah.
I noticed that reviewing bad stuff tends to get you more traction.
Yeah, people tend to respond to negativity for sure.
Oh, you reviewed Fiendish. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did. That was a more recent one. I'm trying other indie comics that I've actually backed campaigns for.
Let me make sure I have these on. There you go.
So I was also planning on reviewing Core Draft at some point. This other one, Death Trap, from someone else that I met at a... Well, I had already been following their Instagram, but I met them at one of the Garden State Anime Fest, I think it was. That's the other one.
You're now offering paid reviews. That's awesome. People have sent me their stuff for free, and I said I'd review it, and then I just haven't yet, because my to-read pile is so big. So, guys, if you sent me something to review and I haven't gotten to it, you can hound me. I'm giving you full permission to bother me again in my DMs if I forgot.
I used to review anyone's comic that would just send it in. As it turns out, that's how you get a lot of comics sent to you.
Yeah.
So at some point I stopped doing that, and now I'm saying, okay, I'll do it again, but I want to charge now.
No, it's good. And people, if you're, especially with the base you have, I mean, this is good. You're getting, inherently, everyone's going to get eyes on stuff. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, reviews are very valuable. And for someone like myself, I actually like paid some other channel that was actually less views than me just to review the comic, because I like hearing what other people's thoughts are. And then you also have the additional benefit of having more reviews online and more people talking about it online, which helps with your, SEO and everything else.
My aunt's fat tits. These are incredible thumbnails. I'm so bad at making thumbnails. Because I always want to cram too much stuff in there. And it's really, I look at all of them, and it's just this. Like, if you look at my old Vaughn Coleman
thumbnails, my goodness.
I haven't in a long time. Are they cluttered?
They're really cluttered and ugly. But I guess they get the job done, or maybe people just keep on clicking on them because they know it's from the quartering and they want to hear his thoughts.
Gotcha. So you review comics and stuff. What made you get into creating comics and making comics?
I guess it was that first big Comicsgate boom at the time. The first campaign that I did. I mean, I had done comics before that, but, like, the one that people know me for is, like, or at least noticed me for, was the very first campaign I did, which was around the big Comicsgate boom, where everybody was talking about how, like, modern comics are trash and you should all support indie work. And I was like, geez, I gotta get in on that, huh? So I, like, collaborated with someone to get something out there, and it was successful. So I kept on making more comics and doing more campaigns, and here we are today.
And you've got a lot of campaigns under your belt, looks like. I mean, which is great. That's a lot. You are an artist, right?
Yeah, I am.
You do, and a writer. But like, did you know you wanted to be a comic artist when before that boom happened, or was it something you had thought about? Like, what made you? How early did you start drawing?
Yeah, it's one of my flaws is that I'm very hesitant to commit if I think that I'm going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what art was for me for a really long time, where like I have all these voices telling me that I could never make any money as an artist and that I shouldn't even bother with it. So the first campaign, I didn't do the art for it. I had done art for like previous webcomics that was not very good, but you know, I spent like most of my life not even bothering trying to improve at art because I thought it was pointless. And then at some point I got back into doing art and I realized, oh, I actually really enjoy this. I should try to get better at it. So that's kind of where I am now, is that I'm putting a lot of effort into actually trying to polish up the art style that I have and make it more enjoyable and do both the writing and art, at least for some of my works. I can still like collaborate with other artists in the future, but I would like to also do my own stuff, draw my own stuff, you know?
So have you drawn any of your own full interiors? Some, right? You said?
Yeah. There's a couple of comics on my website that I've done all the art for.
That's awesome. We'll talk about your latest is, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the artist, right?
For Sonic City Witch?
Yeah, or no?
That's not me, no.
That's not you. Okay.
Sonic City is really a much older comic than a lot of people realize, because I started it like, what was it, like 4 years ago? 3 or 4 years ago. An ongoing thing, and I was releasing it like chapter by chapter on the website as like independent issues, and then this, what we're campaigning for, is for the full thing, all in one graphic novel, along with the finale to the whole series. But the artist is Alex Lopez. I met him beforehand, and it's been nice working with him. So it's, you know, good relationship and all that.
That's great. I love the look of this book, and yeah, anime style. This tends to do well, especially if you have an attractive chick. Tends to do well on Kickstarter, so definitely. This guy, you got to advertise this one more.
Well, it's already sold.
Well, but you have the art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good, and definitely keep going with the Kickstarter. This looks great. 100 pages. That's awesome, and it's done.
It's almost done. We have 14 more pages left to draw, and it'll just be out of our hands. I mean, I still have to do like shading and the lettering. I'm the letterer on this
You're the
thing.
letterer?
It's been a real pain. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a look at lettering. So a couple writer friends told me to do it. It makes you a better writer. And I was like, I just don't want to, honestly. So I just didn't.
Yeah. Well, like, the funny part is, because this has been a slow project and because I had been, like, working on it over the course of 4 years, when my hard drive died, the original clip files, so I had to, like, re-download all of the files without any of the shading and the lettering and redo all the shading and the lettering for them all over again. You know, redoing work is such a pain.
Gotcha. So you have to do like all of that? Redo all of that?
Well, at least the line work is all done by somebody else. So I got that taken care of, but I had to redo the gray tones and the lettering and
Oof.
yeah, it's, you know, it's not like it's very it's not a lot of work in retrospect compared to doing the art. But when you're redoing it, it just makes it so much more taxing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I remember one time when I was at film school, or no, it was before. It was actually when I was submitting to USC. I had to make a film. and I was up till like the morning, and I finished editing the film, and I literally said out loud to myself, I don't think I've ever been this proud of anything I've ever made. And then the next day I'm in class exporting it, and I delete a backup thinking it's a backup copy. And it wasn't.
Boy.
And I could not find it. And I took it, and I literally, like, I was like, I need to go. Like, I was in middle class, like, Vaughn in middle class. I'm like, I need to go now. Like, you don't understand. So I had to, like, I came home, and then I just basically re-edited the entire thing, and now I'm like, I don't even want to watch this movie again. Like, it's just that kind of stuff. It's the worst. It's the worst.
It really is.
But so what were your biggest inspirations when it came to making this particular story?
Oh yeah, well, we started making this before Cyberpunk 2020 came out. It's a shame that it didn't launch around that time when we were having the big Cyberpunk boom. But yeah, I had like I was super interested in both like the cyberpunk stuff and also the fantasy stuff, and I thought, what if I could just mix those two into one comic? And that's kind of the general inspiration for it. Later on, we ended up making it have its own independent like world structure and politics that lead to the big conflict in this comic book. So it's a fun ride.
It's a fun ride. Put that on the book. It's good. All right, let me go ahead and play the trailer real quick. And then so you have to, it's weird with my computer the way it works. I have to open it in Chrome, which doesn't show the rest of the campaign but does play this. It's weird.
Everything changes day after day. Everything changes, although it may stay. Whatever we try and whatever we do, everything changes just like me and you.
Wow, that I did not expect it to be animated.
Oh yeah, I love animation.
That's gorgeous too. So you said order directly. So what does that mean, order directly?
Directly on the burningstarcomics.net website.
So
I have
that's
like
not
kind of a
available on the
special.
Kickstarter.
The poster is available. It's just not automatically included.
You have to buy it on Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
so
what
there's
would you
more
rather-
incentive to order it directly.
Because what would you rather have people back on?
Well, I get more money if you back directly on the website.
All right, that's what I'm at with Fun My comic. I'm similar. It's like, yeah, it looks good for optics to do the other ones, but I like
Right,
that
yeah.
money.
Yeah, mostly I was never gonna do a Kickstarter originally. It's because other people were telling me that I had to. I have to do like it on some other platform.
Yeah, I would definitely do that because, and you don't have like a set date for this, you don't have a set amount of time until it reaches 200, right? Just until it hits the goal.
Yeah, I'll leave it up on pre-order until the comic is done.
Okay,
And-
so then
Yeah.
I would just really keep attacking, like, go to, I don't know, if you use Facebook groups generally are great for that. I could send you some people that promote Kickstarters. There's tons of great people that promote Kickstarters, but yeah, I would say everyone should, just because there's so many people that won't even know you exist if you don't.
Yeah.
But also
That's
doing your
basically
own
the only
website.
reason.
I'll have to ask you off air about making a website and pre-order, because I would definitely love to do something on my website at some point.
Oh yeah. Well, I know a guy, so he
Oh, you
set
know
up
a
my
guy.
website for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to do this. I keep asking everyone else around me to do it for me, and I'm like, I guess, like, I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn
Yeah,
skills.
it's a lot of watching tutorials to figure out how everything
Ugh.
works on WordPress.
Yeah. So, this book is over 100 pages for just $25. Or you can see it's like a manga style now. Is it going to be manga size, or how big is it going to be?
It's gonna be like a normal trade size. It's just
awesome.
black and white art. Yeah.
The art
I was
looks
originally going to have a stretch goal be for color, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't think it's.
Do you don't want it with color?
Well, I did all the work on the shading, and I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
it's
it
like-
would ever reach a stretch goal high enough to actually get it for color, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's also just a matter of what you want. Like, I think it looks great in black and white.
Yeah, I think it turned out pretty good in black and white.
This art is so good. I love the layout of this page, too.
I know, it's so creative. Alex is a genius.
So, when you're scripting it out, do you write panels and stuff, or what do you do?
I do write panels, although in the future, I don't know if I'll even bother.
Yeah.
As opposed to just writing it like more like a movie script, I guess, where you're just explaining everything that's happening and then let the artist take the reins on like what they want
Yeah.
the panels to look like.
That's where I'm kind of finding a middle ground. I find that the more scripts I write, as I'm more comfortable with my artist, I'm getting less particular and more like, no, do your thing. But then every once in a while you have something that it's like, nope, it has to look this way. I find comics are a really weird medium for writing because there's a lot of, there's like not an exact format. In screenplays, it's the strictest, I think. They're very much like, you can't do this, you can't do this, and even more so now, it's to the point where, like, we don't even want you to give oddly, like, I would put characters' hair colors and stuff, and they'd be like, well, we don't want that, because what if it's an actress that has, like, or that doesn't look like this? They almost discourage it, in part, so they could, partially diversity and whatever, but also, so they discourage kind of some character descriptions now.
Right. It's like
is
the
weird.
Harry Potter thing where J.K. Rowling is like, actually, I
She
never
was
described what Hermione looked like.
In all the books?
Not true.
Yeah, isn't there like there's because I haven't read them, but it's like her pale face. She's white on all the
Yeah.
covers. Yeah,
I mean, like, brown frizzy hair, sure.
yeah.
Whatever you say, J.K.
JK. That's Would you? What would you do if like your artist you give a description of the character and the artist just comes up with something else and like, oh, I casted a different actor in this role. You'd be like, what are you?
I would lose my mind.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I thought this actor was
Yeah.
better for the part. Oh my god. Yeah, it's like best person for the job, but it's like for example, if they wanted to cast me as Batman, like it doesn't matter how good my acting is, I'm 5'9". You know what I mean? Like it's like I wouldn't cast, like I'll be honest. Like listen, if I was cast, of course I'd be happy, but I'd be like, as a Batman fan, would I cast me? No. I'm too short, It's just they got to do that. They got to just, I don't know, cast what's right. But one of the things that I love about comics is you don't have to worry about that. Your vision just gets to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are your favorite comics when you're not talking about ones you hate?
Well, I'm keeping up with a lot of manga, of course. And I've been enjoying a lot of indie comics I've been picking up too. Although I usually don't even bother mentioning the ones that I don't enjoy because I figure, well, they're trying.
I don't
At
either.
least you tried.
Yeah. What are your favorite indie ones then? The ones that you do enjoy that you're comfortable saying?
Let's see. Well, I did enjoy Fiendish. I did a
Fiendish is
review
great.
about that. And I enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm excited to see like what the next book comes. I just started Common America. I hadn't been reading it for the longest time. I picked up the first issue and I'm like, man, this is good. I can see why people like it.
I haven't read that one yet, but I met Tim Lim. I just haven't, and Doug Ernst, I just haven't got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is, I've been meaning to check out. I just read Earthbound by Narwhal, like the whole series so far. That's very good. That one's
nice.
very good. There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot
read
of them.
one of. He actually sent me one of his comics at one point. I don't know if it was Earthbound or a different one, but that was a while ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, his stuff is great. He's a great writer.
Yeah.
But so the indie stuff, but like, did you ever? Because I know it looks like you pull from a lot of manga. You mentioned One Piece. That seems to be like something I've been recommended like crazy. But what are some of your other favorites?
Well, I like Kaiju number 8. That just had a chapter that updated today, so it's on my mind.
Kaiju number 8. All right.
Yeah. They had an anime that came out this year. Actually, it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty decent.
Was it good or just pretty decent?
Well, there were some good things, and then there were some things that I was like, Some of the character designs, they basically redesigned some of the characters to have, like, more rounded faces, as
Why?
opposed to, like, the edgy style that the original manga has. So I thought that was an odd choice, but the animation was great, and it was very fun.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I'd still watch it. Has the funniest ending theme, though.
Gotcha. So Kaiju number 8, that one's good. Have you ever read Battle
that one
Angel
is good.
Alita? Speaking of cyberpunk, I need to finish that
I
series.
got 2 of the first volumes right behind me.
Did you
the
get
big
the
books.
the chonky ones? I have.
I got
Oh, shit.
chonkies, yeah.
All right, so they're positioned in a weird way, so I just knocked everything over. So I got the first 2 here, which, by the way, I should
Nice.
probably... I want to sell these if anyone wants to buy my first 2. Because I decided I wanted to get the box set after I had gotten the first 2, because the box set is just really pretty. And I didn't know what to do, so there you go. I got the box set.
That is
so I have
pretty.
2 copies of the first one. It looks great. The problem with it I have is, like, it has... Every side of it is pretty, so no matter what, you're covering something up. Like, this side is pretty... This side where you're... But the most practical side is to have it here. I know I'm rambling. Then there's the back. But it's like the most practical side you want is where the books are, which is the least pretty side.
Yeah, right.
And it really bothers me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
they need
switch
to do
it.
another art piece that on the spines when they all connect to each other.
Oh, I
it makes
love when
another
they
art
do
piece.
that. I love when
Yeah.
they do that. Maybe... Well, actually, I'm doing floppies after my first issue. But maybe for my omnibuses, but that'll be like in 10 years, so...
Yeah, right. Well, it's good to think ahead, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh?
But yeah, Alita, I like. I will say the ending of the original series is so bad.
I
Like,
know,
it's-
right?
Have you read it or no?
I read the first series. I haven't read the spin-offs.
Oh, you haven't read Last Order? So you have the first 2, but you've read up to 5, or?
The first 2 are my favorites, so those are the ones I kept. That was the first,
Oh my
which
god!
I thought was the best, where
Wait,
she was
so-
actually like hunting people down.
Because the desert stuff I love, and then it got to that. The thing is, if it had ended like even like 5 pages earlier, it would have been a good ending. But then it's all right. I don't know. Should we talk about the ending? Because it's really,
don't know.
it's so
It's
like
an
it's
old
like
one,
meme worthy,
so-
and no one fucking talks about this ending. Like it's like meme worthy bad. Like it's shockingly bad, and no one talks about it. Like it's.
I remember being confused. Like
I remember
wait,
looking it
this
up, I
is
was like,
actually
there
what
is
we're
n-
going with.
Yeah, I was Googling, I was like, this has to be, because this manga is so acclaimed, and I was like, this has to be, like, I must be missing something. There's no possible way. All right, I'm going to talk about it, because
Did they
had-
ever retcon it?
yeah, in the Last
other-
Order. Well, in the Last Order, they don't
Good.
retcon, they just go, all right, so, because apparently, all right, so here's the ending, guys. So, the ending of Battle Angel Alita, they beat the villain and everything, and she's gonna go back to her. By the way, her second boyfriend, Figure 4, love him. Although he's
Yeah,
barely
he's
in
such
the
a good
sequels.
character. He's barely in the series, but I love him. I don't understand why
Yeah.
they don't use him more.
Well, I have 3 volumes in, and I'm pissed off. I've read the first 3 omnibuses here of the sequel series. He's not in them. I have 4. And Figure 4, like, I love the one part where he gets shot up and he just grabs a beer, chugs it, and runs back into action. But, so
Because the
he's...
series needed comedy like that.
He is. He's like a redneck. Thank you, Yeshua. Yeah, so, alright, so at the end of Battle Angel Alita, it's like, even when I talk about it, I still cannot believe that was greenlit. So she beats the villain and she's driving away, and then she, like, there's this baby crossing the road. She hits the baby, and then she gets out. It's like, are you okay? And then it blows up, and she dies. And that's the fucking ending. Am I remembering
That's
that
not
correctly?
the ending I remember.
Wait, what's the ending you remember?
The ending I remember is when she turns the elevator into a giant tree
What?
and then dies, but then gets reborn in a flower.
Wait, hang on. Are you talking the original? Like, you're talking the Last Order or the original?
The original.
What the Wait, hang on. What?
I read it online, but I don't know if there's a different ending in the printed version.
She turns into a flower?
She's reborn from a flower or something.
I
didn't really understand it. That's why I'm...
I do not remember that being the ending. Hold on. No, I'm looking at it now. All right, someone has, like, if someone's watching the playback on this, or if someone's in chat and wants to correct the record.
What was the last villain that you're referring to that she
The
beat?
last villain, that was, nah, shit, what?
It was the
I know.
scientist guy?
Yeah, what is it? Why am I blanking on his name?
No, I
Nova.
know who you're
Destiny
talking
Nova.
about. Yes. So that's not the last villain.
What do you mean?
There's an arc after. She ends up being friends with Nova, actually. It's kind of
Well,
weird.
no, that's in the Last Order. That's a sequel series, is what I'm talking about.
Oh, did I read part of The Last Order?
Yeah,
Because
did
I
you
read
spoil the
the
Last
ending
Order?
online, but it said that it was the original Alita ending.
No, the original Alita ending is where so she's driving, hits the baby, and then so she beats the villain by oh my god, I forgot about this. She beats Nova by cutting his head off. And then after she gets blown up by the baby, yeah, there's the kid holding a ball in the middle of the road. She yeets this kid. Oh my god, I forgot how brutal it was. And then she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And then he blows up. He laughs and blows up and kills her. And then Nova turns out to be alive with his head on his stomach, surgically.
Right.
And then that was the actual ending of the series for like years. Like that was just it. And then they had like an ending that was like non-canon because he was like, I want to end it differently. And then he goes, nah, that actually didn't happen. Yeah. And then that didn't happen. And then he was like, actually, let's just do the Last Order. So
yeah, because the last arc that I remember is when they actually go to Zalem.
Yeah, that was the Last Order. Last Order is when they're in Zalem. So wait, what, she becomes a tree and dies?
That was a small arc.
I'm still there, or I've read all this. You know what I think it is? Or I think that what you're talking about. Hold on, I just put it back in. All right, hold on. I think what you're talking about turns into a fucking tree, because that sounds like the kind of shit that they would do. Like like I'm not.
Yeah, she tears.
Yes. Yes.
Into a tree.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. This was the original. Okay, so they had that ending, and this is the original. Let's come up with a different ending. So they released that, and then they were like, actually, the tree one isn't canon. We're just going to ignore that and then do the Last Order. So
Good,
that's what it is.
because I didn't like the tree ending either.
Well, the original ending's also bad, but then if you just...
Yeah, sure. All right, well, that's what I was thinking about then when I was
Oh
thinking
my
about
god,
the
I like memory
Yeah.
wiped the tree shit, and I'm looking at this now. What the hell happens?
At least she gets with her boyfriend at the end. There's that, but, you know.
Yeah, they just decided... It says here, there's like a blurb talking about it, because it's included in the deluxe edition. But it says, currently, the previous chapter is canonical end. The story eventually is continued in the Last Order. The following pages are another vision of the Battle Angel Alita, published after the ending but before the Last Order. Due to many requests from fans of the series to the original material, it has been included. It's not canon, so it's a side story. Okay, so it was canon, and then they were like, actually, no.
Actually, mind. All right, so I remember the non-canon ending.
Yeah, but yeah, either way, the ending is bad.
Kinda, yeah.
And it's such a good
I guess
series.
you have to pick up the Last Order to like, I don't know.
And the thing is, it gets, like, the Last Order, there's one part, and it's like this whole volume is barely even about Alita. She goes into this database, and it's like, follows this ancient history about vampires in Antarctica or something.
What?
The series
I wasn't expecting
gets,
that.
neither when I was reading it, because I was like, the weirdest part of it is it's not just like one chapter, right? Like, so she goes. No, they're not in Antarctica. The Earth was like frozen at one point in time. I still don't know how it's relevant, really. I kind of know. No, I kind of know how it's relevant, but it goes on this tangent for like an entire omnibus with this side character you barely know, and it's like, okay. And you know what? It was cool, so I didn't really mind. But I was just like, they're really just going full ADHD on this. Like, they really don't care. It's interesting. I love that. Did you like the movie?
The live action one?
Yeah.
I did like the movie. I thought it was pretty decent as far as like anime adaptations go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a low bar. But yeah.
I like the animated OVA as well.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I
pretty
started
decent.
reading Alita after the movie. I saw it like 3 times, and you know, I don't think it's perfect, but I had fun with it.
Yeah.
I think,
Like I said, I mean, the first arc I feel like was maybe the most solid, and then it feels like we go like all over the place. Like she starts playing an instrument at one point, and then drops that, and then she's rollerblading. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then she becomes an assassin. It's all over the place, you know. And
they did streamline it because I don't know what they do with the first movie. You know what I love though? They almost did they did a reverse diversity thing. So there's this. Do you remember the villain in the rollerblading art was Joshugan, who was like clearly black? Do you remember who they cast in the movie?
did they cast a white guy?
They cast Jai Courtney. You know who that is?
No, I don't. I'm really bad with names.
All right, so hold on. Let me. This side by side is so funny. All right, I don't know why they did this, but like, so this is him in the manga. He's like black with blonde hair for some reason. Right? I'm not crazy. Like this guy's black, right? I'm not crazy.
I don't know. He might be tan.
He's
There's
very
actually
tan.
like
Well, this. All right, he doesn't look like this.
No, it doesn't look like that.
And I'm like, yeah. So like, I don't know what they were.
There actually is a style in Japan of like, well, I've only seen it with girls, but they tan their skin super dark and then dye their hair blonde.
Oh yeah, that
and
would
then
not fly
sometimes
in
put
America.
on face paint. Yeah. So I think maybe that's maybe what they were going for as far as stylistic.
Wait, that's
wise.
actually what he does. That's literally what he. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Wait, hang on, but
maybe.
is it normal for a man to do that though?
I don't know.
Well,
I've
no,
never
because
seen
his
a man
sister,
do it.
because his sister had the same skin tone. His sister,
Oh,
who would, by the way, get
okay.
naked randomly in scenes. I don't know if you remember this.
No, I don't. I think I blocked that out.
Yeah. Well, I remembered it. There'd be just like scenes that would cut her showering for no reason, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And that manga is wild, but it was fun. It was just pure fun, and you get the sense that it was kind of like, and this is one of the things that I'm struggling with, is being perfectionist and not, is you could tell that with Alita, they were kind of running with it. Like, I'm sure they had some idea of what her backstory was, but I don't think they planned this whole thing out.
I think that's obvious with the 2 different endings that were
Well,
not great.
apparently, and first of all, Japan has a problem with creators getting depressed and ending their series prematurely. Like, that is a big
yeah.
problem. Like, didn't that happen with Evangelion too? Or is that just a myth?
With the anime, I thought they were running out of budget. And time simultaneously. But also, like, the writers were just already kind of depressed, which you can kind of tell in the story. Like, even when they got the movie to do an alternative ending, the movie is probably the most doomer ending you could imagine for that, because they literally just kill everybody on Earth.
Yeah. I never watched the Rebuild movies. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did the reboot movies as well.
See, there's
I've
this
never
one
seen
video
those.
I gotta send you because I love Evangelion. But there's this one video that I watched that just literally just roasts Evangelion like for like 20 minutes. It is the most brutal takedown. And as much as I love it, I'm like, I agree with everything this guy's saying. Like, they'll reveal important plot information. They'll leave out important plot details and be like, oh, you fool, you don't know the lore. And it's like, you didn't tell me the lore.
Apparently, there's a visual novel where they tell you all of the lore, but it's like, am I supposed to, like, get all this extra information from all these different resources, like the MCU, like, oh, you gotta watch the TV show to understand the next movie.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
you.
the part of comics I'm trying to, like, everything in Phenomenova will be in the pages of Phenomenova that you need. With my trading cards, I add additional character information because I think it's an extra chance for me to write, because I can't stuff all my ideas in one book. I'm sure you get that. There's stuff you have to cut. But, like, I don't think you should have to read an ultimate guide to understand the basics of your story. I think if you want to add details, fine.
Yeah. It's a very shady way of trying to get people to buy more product.
I think it's that, but I think it's also if you didn't properly, it gives you an excuse to not properly explain your story. So I think it excuses bad writing, and that's another thing I didn't even think of. Yeah, and it also was like, didn't they have like a Fortnite tie-in with the last Star Wars movie that like gave crucial plot information?
Did they? Oh my god.
I think so. I think they did.
Cringe.
Which it's like, this is Star Wars, man. Like, you can't do that. Yeah, so my comic Phenomenova will be incomprehensible, but I'm gonna do a second campaign where you'll have a guide. Don't worry. You excited?
Yeah, don't worry. You have to buy the pocketbook to understand all the information.
I did a 2-hour video essay on Final Fantasy VII, and people were yelling at me. Shippers got very angry at me over that video, and they were like, my God, they were like so mad. And they were like, you need to read the Ultimania. You didn't even read the Ultimania to understand the story, the whole. And I'm like, this game is like 100 hours long. And I watched so many video essays, and it's like, I don't need a doctorate to understand the game, man.
Yeah, and it's also like sometimes the extra information or the spin-offs or whatever, sometimes it's not even canon, but some people just take it as such.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Let me go ahead and let's see if we got any new backers. Yeah, it seems to me like you want them in either place, but you'd prefer your website.
Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever people want to back,
Which one do you want me to share right now?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry, which screen do you want me to share right now? Do you want me to share it on that or the Kickstarter?
Yeah, whichever you want. It's fine. It's all the same pictures anyways.
Okay.
I figure like a lot of people, maybe they find it easier to back, especially if they're just now discovering me, might find it easier to back on the Kickstarter. But some people have already bought from my website and they'll find it easier to just back on the website. Either way, like the progress bar is tracking both sales from both places.
Ooh.
So
that's cool.
yes. That's my true goal. I lowballed the goal on Kickstarter just to pay for printing.
You always have to. That's one of the things I learned. Nobody's goal is actually their goal, right?
Oh yeah. It's just like bare minimum. Help me not go into as much debt.
Because once people know that the book is, you have to accept when you're doing a crowdfund that you're not making money. You're probably going to lose money. But that's okay because it's an investment. And this book looks great. So you think it'll be out in people's hands February 1st?
That's the latest date that I can imagine. I'm hoping that I get it to the printers before then. Hopefully, we'll have it back from the printers sometime by the end of this year. Maybe November or something, or October. I said, there's only 14 more pages left to do. But I also want a lot of beta readers to look at it, because if I'm redoing all the lettering, I feel like that increases the potential for typos. So I'm nervous about that particularly.
Well, if you want a proofreader, let me know.
Yeah, sure.
This book looks awesome, though.
Thank you.
So tell us about your main character and everything that it's about.
Oh, yeah. So the story itself involves this, in the future city, cyberpunk has taken over, but exist magic users. And because technology has advanced so much, people find magic to be somewhat obsolete in comparison.
Ooh.
Like everyone's like moving on to digital brains and augments and lasers and shit. And it's kind of contrary to magic stuff because when a witch or wizard augments, they actually like kind of weaken their magic, so they can't cast as well. And so it kind of creates this conflict of interest between both magic users and people who are very pro technology, move forward into the future, etc. So the main story involves this magic cult that is trying to turn all the metal in the city into nature and basically kill everyone who's augmented in the process to retake the city and make it a magic-based city instead. So the main character is a witch who is helping the police catch the bad guys, essentially, using her witchy knowledge.
That's awesome. So she's a witch, but she's working with the people that are kind of, or is the government kind of against magic users? It's more just cultural.
It's more of a cultural thing. It's like, to give you some example, like witches pull their magic from nature, and
Right.
obviously the city is becoming more industrialized. So, for example, they tear up a park, and they're like, "Oh man, they hate us, right?" But they're tearing up the park to put in a hospital. So it's kind of this back and forth thing of, are they really bad people? It's just the problem is so much that their interests are just conflicting with one another, but they don't actually hate each other. It's just that they need to find there's this quote that's like, the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what the story is dealing with here.
Gotcha.
Where it's like they need to find some middle ground so that they can both coexist with each other.
That's awesome. How long are you planning on? Because this is the full graphic novel. Is this going to be the full series, or are you planning on continuing? Is this a volume 1, or is it the story done here?
Yeah, this is going to be the full story.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, it was originally 4 issues. We put in 4 chapters and just one big graphic novel.
That's awesome. All right, so that's another plus then. We're getting an actual complete story, start to finish. Again, I love the art style. The premise sounds super cool. Who are your favorite writers? Sorry?
Like in my favorite writers, as in like indie comics?
All
or...
of it. Just
All
across
of
the
it?
board. Just favorite writers.
Well, I really got into Freerun recently, so I feel like Yamada is definitely up there as far as writers that I've been enjoying.
Okay. I don't know if I know his stuff, but so it seems like most of your influences are anime.
Yeah, maybe some anime. I think that this is a little bit more
manga.
Western than something like the Reaper series that I've been trying to cook up. That is definitely leaning much more anime. This one is, I feel like, somewhere in the middle. One of the first reviews I got for like issue 1 back when I just had the digital versions coming out, somebody said that I captured the flow of something more manga-like, and then the cinematic style of American comics.
That's interesting. It's always interesting when people compare your stuff to things you weren't even thinking of.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. They'll be like, "You really pulled from this," and I'm like, sure. Whatever you say.
Whatever you say.
So yeah, yes, that's exactly what I was going for. Buy my product. That's great.
Whatever makes you buy it, yeah, sure.
Yeah. This is great. This book looks so good, man. Like, let's see. That looks great. And you have a whole bunch of other books in your site. Do you want to talk about any of those? Or oh, I like this. You have like ages.
Yeah, because
Saving the children. So what is this? What's the age range? 14 plus? So
yeah, that's my generic like teen book rating there. It's a little bit older than I guess the regular, because some people just like lump in preteens with the general teenage, and I'm kind of looking for older than preteens, like actually more so in the center or above field. So I think if you let your kids read shonen, original shonen, then this is fine.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they seem to get away with a lot more in Japan. Anyway, for kids.
That's true.
But let's see. So we got a whole bunch of this. Was this the one that you guys are selling at one of the ones you guys are selling? Horizon Quest?
Yeah, Horizon Quest. That was the collab me and Adam did together. He did the writing, I did the art.
Was that a fun one to you? To do?
Yeah, that's fun. It's very lighthearted, and I think that's what a lot of people miss seeing from fantasy.
Wow. Yeah, this looks fun. Then we got Crazy Cop. Orgasm
yeah.
Girl.
I think you mentioned that on one of your other streams.
I think I did,
That
because
was-
and I totally forgot, and every time it's, yeah. Well, listen, it's not like you didn't make it with that reaction. Never mind.
That was the first campaign, actually.
Starting off strong.
Yeah, right. That got people's attention.
Now hiring. Getting a job. See, that's a very anime title. It's not like getting a job will
it's
kill you.
long.
That is.
The punchline is with the title, so I kind of liked the title for that reason.
Sonic City. Okay, so Sonic City Witch, you can get some of the earlier ones, and then if you want it.
Yeah, those are the digital issues where it's like, kind of separating the chapters.
You get a lot out. How do you get so much out?
I mean, even this, compared to other, I guess, actual official comic websites where they have hundreds of titles, we've got like, what, 10
That's
titles?
a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot for like someone just starting out. Not all of them are my books. I think 3 or 4 of them are not my books.
But you publish them?
Yeah, right. Like Crazy Cop Yuzuki, it's not mine. That's my friend's. Now hiring, same thing. But yeah, I like momentum. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm already like, I'm writing the first full arc of my main series, Phenomenova, and then I want to do other ones. If I could just, the stuff I'm dealing with, like, I was like, today I'm going to write. And then every time it's like, you have to deal with printer numbers. You have to do this. And do you ever have that where it just gets in the way of everything?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna
I
say, if you didn't, I'd be like, can you let me know your secret?
It's difficult because I have difficulty writing while also listening to background noise or listening to each other, because I start writing what they're saying. So we have a very open concept house, so there's always like people talking to each other. It's like, geez, I gotta like find a hole somewhere where I can hear nobody,
Try to write everything else up. So I have to do that. There was a point today where I was like, I have to just write a quick line in my script. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. This is the second day in a row. I was cooking the other day, and I'm like, I only got a few pages left. And then shit has been coming up. And I told myself yesterday, I'm like, okay, tomorrow is the day I write. I'm taking off today. And then today, a whole bunch of shit. They're like, you have to send your printer numbers by like... And I'm like, no! All right, that comes first. And it's always something. It's always something.
Yeah.
But, let's see. How do I get back to your... So Orgasm Girl is not all ages, I take it.
No, definitely not. It's all comics, but not all ages comics. Yeah, so you can click on the Burning Star logo and there's that too.
Oh. Yeah, all right. I'm going to need your up on the website. So we have to at least get to 69, guys. At least. Come on. It's very
For
important.
the memes, yeah.
Only I will say I will do my part in helping this get to 69. Please, guys, it's important. Well, I mean, actually help her get her goal, but, start small, baby steps. Baby steps.
Right, yeah.
So, there we go. Let's see. Keep playing for keeps is still playing, mon ami, so take a card, any card. Is that Gambit? Yeah, that's... It's Gambit.
That's creative.
I love Gambit. Gambit is like I'm finally getting to the first comics with him, and it's weird. In his first issue, he doesn't throw trading cards. He throws
what does he throw?
Darts, and he charges them up with his eyes.
I guess that makes sense.
And it's like green energy. But it's not even like darts;
okay.
they're like little spike. It's like he has a really weird. You're not a fan of Gambit, Ellie? Gambit's a weird character. He was originally supposed to be... Do you know why he looks like a 90s cool guy? Is because he originally... I'm not even kidding. The plan was that he was supposed to be like the projection or something of a 10-year-old kid's idea of what a ladies' man is. And then it was going to be revealed that, like, he was actually not a real boy. And then he kind of, like, has to become a real boy. And the same thing with Mr. Sinister.
Strange.
Mr. Sinister was also the product. And this little boy was Cyclops' bully as a kid, who to get back at him. So he had a crush on Rogue, and he was like, let me create the cool guy to get Rogue. And that was what Gambit
of course.
was.
Yeah,
And then
works,
that's why
right?
Mr. Sinister is so over the top, too, is because he was a kid's version of a villain. He has, like, shark teeth. He has a big cape. He has, like, this pale white skin and, like, dark eyes. Because that was what it was supposed to... They were supposed to be like child's version of a cool guy and a villain. But then that didn't end up happening.
Yeah, I mean, considering what all the other characters look like, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
That's it, yeah. No, they all look like that. It's true. 90s head socks were a thing. They were a big thing.
Mm.
Let's see. Yeah, Sinister is one of my favorite character designs. But the character designs in this book, too, look pretty good. Like, she's a cop, yeah, but, like, I don't know, I like it. Also, the thick is good.
He's got a very thick style, yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
This guy's
we gotta bring
you always
curvy
got to
women
have
back.
someone with a robot arm. You always got it in a cyberpunk feature.
It's a requirement, yeah.
See, I got cyberpunk and magic is just such a cool combination. I think this book looks great.
Yeah,
So, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I like how they approach cyberpunk, and like they have psychic powers, which is sort of similar to magic in Dread, right? And I thought that was always really interesting.
Yeah. All right. So this book definitely is. I'm definitely gonna want to get this. There's so many talented people in the indie space. That's the thing. We need to bring more people, more customers, to make sure that we get this. And it seems like a great one for people to get on with. And you've got a big following, so I'm sure that'll help. But yeah, just getting on as many shows as you can, and really promoting this, you could easily make this goal, especially with this style book and this premise. I mean, this is definitely going to resonate with people.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any like shows you'd recommend to me?
Oh, I could get. You know what? You're like in the last 2 weeks, you're like the third or whatever. I think I need to take the time, because I made a list for myself. I need to take the time and literally just write out every show I went on. But oh my god, yeah, I have tons for you. Yeah, I will make you a list. I'll make just a list to send to everyone I can. So
I'd appreciate it, because like
Yeah.
when I first started doing campaigns, like a lot of the channels that I would do these collaborative streams with, a lot of them don't exist anymore. They like,
I heard
shut
that.
down.
Like, because I'm newer, and people said that like there used to be like way more shows, and a lot of people just stopped doing it. Final Fantasy
It's
3.
pretty sad, but I guess I understand why like people don't really like doing the social media thing.
Yeah, it gets tiresome, but it's networking is one of the things I like about it, and
Yes.
that's one of the things that's really good about it. Is if I'll have a show. Sometimes there's shows where I'm like, I don't want to interview this person, I don't know this person, and then it'll be like one of the most fun interviews I ever have. You never know, and you never know what it could lead to. There was like 1 week where I was like, oh my god, I have these interviews scheduled. they're just distracting me from my work. And then like every single one of them I'd have in the back room, we talking to lead to like a potential thing. It's so getting on as many as you can. I would like when I launched, like part of the reason why I did well is I like planned it in advance. So it was like every day I would get on like if I could at least one stream or two streams and just basically
That's
schedule
smart,
my days
yeah.
around it. And then you could take a breather, but it is directly correlated. The amount of times I go on streams, new streams, is directly correlated to that. Because you'll find even small channels, you're like, this person won't get subs. If even one person sees that in the chat that hasn't before, that's something. And just because someone doesn't back you right away, doesn't mean they won't later. You have to see something a few times.
It's the same thing with just like posting regularly on social media like Twitter or Instagram or wherever, just because every time you post is another chance that someone who's interested in it will see it and then back it.
And you know what's going to happen? And I guarantee it because it happens every time. As soon as I close out, people are going to be like, where do I get? I'm like, so it's like, people are going to say like, oh, I didn't know. Like there were people that would be like, I didn't know you're making a comic book. I'm like, I post about it like every single day on every platform.
I know. Like
and it's
I've
like,
been posting about Sonic City Witch and you didn't even know about it until like more recently.
I didn't. No, that's why it's okay to DM people too. Because often when we're creators, we're in our own, something. So it's okay. Like a lot of the people that get on my show DM me or, so it's okay to just reach out, especially if like, cause we met in person. So it's like, I understand people being cautious or whatever. That's why I also recommend going to conventions and networking. And hanging out after the convention is good too. Because there's the table where they're working, which is great. But like, for example, I was at Terrificon and I was like, we should all just go to a bar and I would just organize bar hangouts. And that's networking. It's also fun, which is key.
Right.
But it's networking. It is business. Like I've gotten jobs from just hanging out with people in a bar and they go, oh, you should work on this, like
I
that.
believe you because you're a very charming person.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was another thing that you should do that I did, or you don't have to, but I would do. I would wait as people were packing stuff up, like Billy Tucci, for example. I'd be like, do you need help with that? Oh, okay. And then we'd carry stuff to the car or, like Michael Golden. So he's an artist who I work with. So they were packing up after a tiny show. And I was like, oh, you want me to help carry stuff? And then we just carried stuff. And then because of that, they're like, hey, you want to do this more? We could pay you for it. I'm like, oh, I just did for okay. So like that kind of stuff does help. Or even, so that's what I would say. That kind of stuff is really good. But yeah, I could get you tons of shows to go on. And I think that's it. Just especially because you've got a bigger channel than me, so if they'll get me on, they'll absolutely get you on. Iron Age Nights is a good one. Friday nights, for some reason, ones with nights tend to just be good.
I guess people love listening to streams at night. So.
At night tends to be it. Although, here's the thing, there are like a few people that do it during the day. So even then, I wouldn't put anything off the table. Like, I've never done an interview where I'm like, I wish I didn't do it. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, that wasn't great, but it's never like, I never get that time. It's like an hour, it's an hour. So if even one person backs it, you think of it like, oh, you just made $25. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, fair point.
And the fact that it's mostly done is going to help. And the animongers, it's good. But yeah, that's this book. Again, I like the premise. What's the main character's name again? Hazel.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that name. I have a list of character names, and that is one of the ones that's on there.
It's a good one. Yeah, especially for a witch character, so.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That is good. That is good. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want me to shout out before we head out?
I guess that's about it. Follow me on X and YouTube is on all that. You can find me just by typing in the search bar Dannphan.
Do you say X?
Well, yeah,
See, I still say
X.
Twitter.
I still want to say Twitter. I have to force myself to say X.
See, I don't know. I'm in denial. Like, I haven't accepted it because I just think the logo looks tacky as hell.
It's bad.
Twitter's just. I still type in Twitter and then it takes me to X. And hasn't he done multiple polls where he's like, "Do you prefer the name Twitter?" And every time we're like, "Yes, just change it back," and he never does.
I don't know. Maybe in the future we'll get another rebrand. I don't mind typing in x.com though, because it takes less time. But
well, it autofills in for me. I will always say Twitter as well. Yeah, absolutely, Twitter. All right, so Twitter, YouTube. Let me pull up the YouTube. Let me see. One second. Haha, you have 69. I didn't even realize that. You have 69K. That's awesome.
I've had that number for a while now. It feels like it's never going to change. Like people don't want it to change.
Yeah, they're like gatekeeping it. Happy belated birthday. Oh yeah, I wish you happy birthday yesterday, but yeah, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you, chat person. I can't read your name because it's in a different language.
Yeah, they just came in just to wish you a happy birthday. I swear, people always come in right when I'm logging off. Every single time on a stream.
That happens to me a lot too, yeah.
Well, if you're going to do that, make sure you check out her book. And while you're here, as we head out, I'm going to play the trailer for my comic book, Phenomenova. But thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it tuned to the channel. I've been slacking off streaming because I've been working on my comic and other adjacent stuff. But I will be streaming more. So be on the lookout for my closeout. And make sure, if you haven't already, to check out my comic book, Phenomenova. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. See you guys next time. Peace out. I'm going to play the trailer as we head out. Any last words?
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Peace. When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.